Liz Larson.
And I'm Bill McKenna.
And together, we created the Cogno Movement System. And we'd like to welcome you to the New Life Perspectives radio show,
where we're going to be sharing with you tools, tips, and ideas that are going to change your life. Hi, this is Bill McKenna here on the UK Health Radio with the New Life Perspectives show. Today, I am so honored to have with us Gemma. Gemma is an amazing Cogno Movement practitioner who miraculously came to us and has been helping people ever since. So I can't wait to hear her story, all about what happened with her. And Gemma, welcome. Gemma is in the UK. Where in the UK are you, Gemma?
I'm actually in North Wales.
Oh my gosh, wow.
But this is great. This is going out on UK Health Radio because I'm a big fan. So yeah, great to talk to you. And great to be on this station because I am a fan of UK Health Radio. It's good.
They're helping so many people globally. And so our mission here at New Life Perspectives radio show is to every week give the listeners something that they can actually use. That's practical, right? You're going to spend a little bit of time with us today, but what we do is we give away every single episode, what I like to call the secrets of the masters. And some of these secrets come from great practitioners like yourself, Gemma. Some of them I've learned and have been handing out. But today, Gemma is going to be sharing with us one of those that is going to be something you could utilize today to make your life better. So Gemma, tell me all about you. How did it all start? How are you here and what happened?
It's a good story. I think it is a good story. So the way that I found you is quite interesting in itself because obviously we're other sides of the world. So it's not normally that you stumble across someone in America. So at the time, I was kind of putting my life back together. So my dad died when I was 22, and I would say from then, I was putting a brave face on with a lot of things. And as time went by and different things happen, you have bad breakups, and there was a catalogue of disasters, let's say, just like a lot of people encounter. But this catalogue of disaster kind of got me to a situation where I was actually very unwell. I had 5 different rashes on my body. I sometimes had appetite, sometimes didn't, sometimes could sleep, sometimes I couldn't. I felt quite, life was just a bit of a strain. Now, I'm a very happy-go-lucky girl. So on the surface, I think, my best friends knew what was going on with me, but I think on the surface, no one had any clue what I was masking. And then what kind of was the final straw was I was sat in work this one day and I'm at my desk and I wasn't really feeling too good. But again, I'm there to do a job, so I was just getting on with it. And I felt like someone, for a joke, had walked to the end of my desk and lifted it up. So it was a split second moment where I thought someone was playing a trick on me, but I also thought it was unusual that they'd lifted the desk so high and my computer and everything hadn't slid down the desk. So yeah, so when that happened, that was an alarm bell for me. There's something extra going on. This is more than appetite and sleep, and this is something a bit more serious. So
And
I'll be honest with you.
And nobody was there?
No one was there. No.
Oh my God.
Not even a ghost. No one was there.
Okay.
I didn't really want to say anything either in work, because I didn't want people to worry, because I already was having a bit of a worried moment. So I just kind of got on with it for the day. But then when I come home, it was quite dark in the evening. It must have been winter time. And as I walked into the kitchen, I hadn't turned the light on, and I felt myself preparing to go down steps, thinking, you haven't put the light on, so remember, be careful going down the steps. And as I was thinking that, then the realization hit. I live in a bungalow. I don't have any stairs or steps anywhere. So at that point, I thought, oh, there's something really wrong here. This is now time for you to address that you're not right. So I wanted to try and see if I could fix myself. Now, I'm a big fan of personal development. I've done loads of work on myself in the past, but I think I'd been gathering information intellectually, but then not really putting much into action. So this became my little project. I was my own personal project.
Now tell me, so your dad died when you were 22.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Is it cancer?
Yeah, he was misdiagnosed for 18 months. And then when they finally admitted, because they were actually just trying to get him to take Prozac, saying he wasn't ill, it was all in his mind, which infuriated my dad, because he was the type of man who, he could go out in the garage, drive a nail through his hand, come in the house, say, oh, don't worry about it, I'll put a plaster on it. So, he was one of these kind of like macho men, So the fact that he was so ill, and we could see it, it was a bit of a wonder that he got misdiagnosed for so long. But when he did get told he had cancer, they said it's that far gone that you've got 3 months to live. And he did. He only lived 3 months, pretty much to the day that he was told. So,
oh my gosh,
a difficult time.
Oh my gosh, what type of cancer was it?
He had it everywhere. It was in his lungs, his lymph glands. He was riddled. They said they didn't even know where it would have originated from, because he was just riddled. They couldn't treat him. He was just kept comfortable until he died.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's that happens so often,
Yeah.
Diagnosis. I've had so many misdiagnoses myself over time.
Right.
But so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you did the downhill slide that happened. This happened over a period of years, like descending into the state where you couldn't really decipher reality very well. Reality was bent, literally. You're like, I don't have stairs in my house, or my desk is tipped over, and it's like your ability to see things clearly and experience things as they are.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you say, I think rings true with me, which is, everyone can mask what they're feeling. You can intellectually tell yourself that you're okay. You can come up with coping mechanisms. You can put on a brave face. You can do all of these things, but it is going to start showing in your body. I think if you don't address it, it's going to start cropping up in your body. And I think for me, I come out in a rash, and I didn't take that seriously. So then I come out in another rash. Then I had 5 rashes. I didn't take that seriously. I wasn't taking note of my sleeping. I wasn't taking note of my eating. You know, my body was shouting out like, please, please do something for yourself. But I just kept going. And I think my body said, right, fine. If you won't listen to the rashes, you won't listen to the headaches and the sleeping and the eating and the not feeling well, then what we'll do is we'll hit you with something that will get your attention. And what it hit me with was this seeing things that weren't there. And, you know, everything was split second. It wasn't like I'd go through the day having conversations with people who weren't there, or, you know, it wasn't too crazy, but it was these split second moments where my attention was drawn to this issue. And I'll be honest with you, it was enough to frighten me into action. With all the knowledge that I have now, I would never let it get that far ever again. You know, I'd pay attention as soon as a rash come out. But I think, you know, you go through life and you don't always take it serious enough. Maybe your health, that is, you don't take your health serious enough. You take it for granted. And I think that's what I'd been doing.
You know, I think for all of us, and myself included, that there's two things that we don't take serious enough, and that is paying attention to what's going on in our body. And the other is the link to the emotions that we're feeling, how we're feeling. One of the things that as you say, I keep saying is that our body will express for us the emotions that we cannot process.
Yeah.
So gosh, maybe I'm irritated perpetually, or or I feel bad about myself, or I feel anxious. This is probably one of the number one things right now, is just a feeling of anxiousness.
Yeah.
Because globally of all the things that are going on. So without like getting that under control and trying to suppress, like, oh, I'm fine, putting on the happy face, right, for the world, right, is that as I suppress, and act as if I'm not, eventually our body will express it for us.
Definitely.
And that expression, can be quite literal. For example, something is getting under my skin, a rash, right? So that type of thing really, if you pay attention, can give you an indication of what's underlying emotionally, what's underlying the physical expression.
But you know what? I think sometimes you put it off because you think by facing it, you might have to deal with something that you don't want to deal with, or you feel more comfortable in this coping stage rather than reliving something that might be at the root. So when Dad died, I actually handled Dad's death quite well, in the sense that I've never been frightened of dying. I knew Dad wasn't frightened of dying, although he would have not wanted to die at 52. There was a lot tied into that. But my mum, she was more, why your dad? Why would they take your dad? It was, my mum couldn't come to terms with the fact that Dad had gone, whereas I kind of come to terms with that quite well. But where I think my issue was, it wasn't just that I'd lost my dad. It kind of, my life changed. So Mum fell apart and I became this pillar of strength. I had to be daughter and husband. And I think maybe I didn't get a chance to grieve as such. I let mum grieve and let her have her time. And then I think once you do that, the problem is you step into this world where people then see you as the strength, and they tell you, you need to be there for your mum. You need to look after your mum. You look after your mum. And it's kind of reaffirmed to you that your role is to be strong and to be the caregiver and let this other person have their moments. And I think I thought at the time, at some point, I'll be allowed to have my grieving moment. Yeah. And then because that didn't really come about for me, I think one of the reasons why I kept it buried was because you do wonder, if you put something in Pandora's box and you leave it festering in there for too long, what's going to come out? Is it going to be, is it going to be 7 times worse than the ingredients that initially went in? So I think there's an element of that too, that sometimes people are a bit frightened of dealing with something that maybe they've buried for a long time, because you do wonder whether it's going to be way more toxic coming out that time than dealing with it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 22 years ago, whatever it might be.
Yeah, it is. There is a lot of fear of that. But fortunately, as you're, now know that there are ways now to move these things up and out.
Yeah, definitely.
So that they're no longer stuck, and it frees not only emotionally, but in your body as well.
Yeah.
And your body responds to it.
I think this is why I'm really grateful to be talking about cognitive movement today, because before I say about the cognitive movement part, so before I arrived on your doorstep, and obviously I was having all these unusual things happening, seeing things that weren't there. And
what did you do, by the way, when you all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, there's no steps in the house. Uh-oh, they're obviously the desk is not sideways. The perception is. So what did you do? What happened?
So first of all, I thought, have I got a brain tumor? That's the first thing I thought. Have I got a brain tumor? And I did try and get appointments at the doctors, and they sent me off to get blood, and they couldn't get any blood. And then they asked me to go back, and then they couldn't get any blood that time. And then my mind really started going into this whirlwind of, oh my gosh, they can't even get blood out of me. And yeah, so I really started steamrolling into a bit of a bad place. So I come home and I thought, do you know what? In this household, you have a minimum of 1,000 books. You've studied all kinds of things. I've studied psychology. I know about emotions. I know about light therapy. I know about all these different healing modalities. So I already had the knowledge, but I'd never really tried these things out. So I thought, right, this is your time. Do it. This is, do these things yourself. So that's what I started to do. So I started trial and error. I was the guinea pig, and I was just trial and error, trying these things out, and different things were making me mentally feel a lot better. And I'll be honest with you, it was very quick that the seeing things and feeling things that weren't there disappeared. But I still obviously had a concern that might be temporary and it was going to come back. And I also still had these rashes, didn't feel well, and there was still all the other stuff. So it then come into, it was a dead sunny day, and I was in the back garden in my hammock, and I was just surrendering, really. I was doing a bit of meditating, and I was kind of surrendering to this false kind of lifestyle I'd created of coping with things. I was being very honest with myself and with the universe, if you like, saying, I see where I've gone wrong. I understand. I'm doing these things to try and help myself. If I could have a bit of inspiration or a bit of an indication that I'm on the right path, that'd be great. And at that moment, I had this weird sensation in the top of my right groin. So anyway, curiosity, obviously, I put my hand to feel and I felt a lump and my heart started racing. And then I felt another lump and then my heart really started pounding. And then I felt a third lump. Now, at the moment that I felt a third lump, I felt like my life just flashed before my eyes, because 1 minute I'm thinking I've got a brain tumor. Now I've just found 3 lumps in my groin. One of the things that Dad had was all lumps and bumps in his groin and everything before he died. So that was then on my mind. Am I going to go out like my dad at 50, Dad went out at 52, too young. Am I going to go out even earlier than that? So 1 minute I'm in this lovely, beautiful, peaceful headspace, surrendering. And then the next minute I'm back in panic mode. What is this now? So that panic was very short-lived. I've got to be honest with you, it was very dramatic. When I say life flashing before my eyes, that is genuinely how I felt. But I kind of pulled myself out of it quick and thought, right, okay, that's fine. So people heal themselves all the time. I read books on it, I see it on the internet, I've seen programs. I'm just going to do it. So that was then my next mission. I'm going to heal myself. So meditating, working with myself, surrendering, all of that process. And Phil, I did. I got rid of these 3 lumps. And the minute that the 3 lumps went, so did the 5 rashes from my body. So at this point now, I'm thinking, hallelujah, this is amazing. This is all my lesson. This is how I kind of saw it. This is all part of my journey. This is all my lesson. So then I thought, if I can heal myself, I wonder whether I can heal my dog. My dog got hit by a car when he was a pup, and he's got a very out of line hip. So I thought, I'm going to try healing the dog, and I healed the dog. And I had a plant delivered and the leaf was split, and I thought, I'm going to try and heal the plant. And I healed the plant. And my alignment just, it was like as if this had to happen. All this stuff had to happen to knock me right off my perch, to make me bring myself back into alignment. And it was then at that point that I put the TV on, go to a subscription channel that I watch, and I'm scanning through and randomly pick a channel, and who pops up on the screen but your good self.
Wow.
So yeah, but the first episode I saw of you, I think it was back in 2017, and it was you were talking about healing modalities. And I think what was nice is you were saying what I've just done to me. You were talking about the power that we all have inside us and utilizing it. So I think I bought into, you seem like a really nice chap. You were very smiley and friendly and welcoming. You were talking about a topic that I could buy into. So I searched to see whether you'd done any other shows. And then the next one, this really touched my heart, because the next episode that I saw, which I think might have been 2018, so it was the one after the first, when I started watching it, you started talking about labyrinths, and labyrinths were mine and my dad's thing. My dad, Yeah, my dad had told me all about labyrinths, and he loved labyrinths. And as soon as you started talking about labyrinths, like you talked about other things, you know, eye movements, light therapy, all other things that I knew about, but and I could connect to, but the labyrinth thing, and it making me think about my dad, and that nice. It's always nice to be reminded of good times of someone that's passed, isn't it? And this was a really lovely daughter and dad moment I was having, thinking about the labyrinths. And yeah, so I thought, what is this cogno movement? I'm gonna see if I can get on a session in, you know, in the UK. So I googled, not available in the UK. So I thought, disappointed, I'll get on with my life. But I couldn't. It kept coming back. And I kept thinking, do you know what? I'm just going to get in touch with these guys in America and just wing it. See if there's any chance that I can get involved, because I really saw and understood what cogno movement could do. So to me, I'm thinking, if I could bring this over to the UK and get people involved, this is an amazing healing tool. And that was before I'd even had a go of a session myself. So that was how you and I met.
Wow, that's really neat. Tell me about your dad and the labyrinths. Tell me
Oh, do you know what? Dad, he was amazing, like really amazing guy. So very, very smart. He was just a naturally clever guy, but he loved the great outdoors. That was his thing. I was raised not really, you know, I'm here today with makeup on and curly hair and clips in my hair. And no, Dad had me in caving gear. And, you know, when I was little, Dad bought me Daisy walking boots, which were leather walking boots. And he was so proud to put these walking boots on my feet. But Bill, they were so heavy. All I could do was stand. I couldn't even walk around the living room. They were so heavy. So Dad wanted me to be raised in the outdoors. And so it wasn't, you know, Gemma, I'll play tea set with you. It was, Gemma, do you think you could climb up that tree? See if you can go higher. See if you can hang off the very top branch. And my mum would be like, oh, no, she's going to have an accident. And, you know, Mum didn't want that side so much. Mum wanted the pretty little daughter, but Dad was quite adamant. He wanted a girl that could do just as much as boys. So, yeah, camping, caving, rock climbing. He founded a caving club. He was part of the cave rescue. He collected fossils and rocks, and he knew, you know, all of the elements. Really, really very clever guy. And he would research everything. So, you know, we'd go backpacking in the middle of nowhere. Right, so you know, you don't even have water. You have steri tabs. So you get your water out of the rivers and you sieve it through a sock first of all, and then you put your sterilized tab in, and it tastes gross, but you know, we'd make nettle soup. And yeah, he was the great outdoors. So Labyrinth,
yeah,
Dad was kind of part of that. You know, that was like an outdoor wonder, and he understood. And I don't really know, because obviously I was 22 when Dad died, so we didn't really have great talks about the human brain or anything like that, but he seemed to have quite a solid understanding of how the brain works. And I remember Dad telling me that labyrinths are a great opportunity for finding solutions. And he said, because I just thought they were pretty when he first introduced me to a labyrinth. I was young. But Dad said, no, there's so much more than that. You walk into a labyrinth pondering on a situation, And he said it connects with your brain. And he didn't say transfers information from left to right hemisphere. He didn't word it like that, but he made me believe that something happens as you're doing the U-turns that frees up ideas and inspiration and brings solutions to issues. So he didn't quite say it, in a neurologist's way, but he made me understand what it was.
He knew it. So for all the listeners, the way a labyrinth works, a labyrinth is it's not a maze, but it is a path. You walk into a labyrinth. It looks a little bit like a maze, but all you do is you follow the path, and the path takes you and makes you do a U-turn to the left, and that forces you to switch lobes of your brain. One side of your brain is going to be the logic side, and the other side of your brain is the creative side. And everybody figures out a problem pretty much the same way. That's why everybody you can really almost predict how they're going to act, because they have a certain thinking pattern, right? They're mostly logical and mostly creative. But with this tool, Labyrinth, you can walk it, and it will force your brain into the opposite lobe for a period of time and then force it back. So you go from logic to creative and that sort of thing. Now, stress lives in the left side of your brain. So by virtue of walking Labyrinth, half the time, you are going to be not in stress, and you'll be able to figure out your problems. The information comes so very, very quickly. Everybody out there, I have a little gift for you. You can find a labyrinth near you, and it's most likely free. Globally, there's over 8,000 of them, and they're all on this website, not all of them, but they're on a website called labyrinthlocator.com or .org. But if you Google Labyrinth Locator and you put in your zip code or your postal code, you'll find one near you. So,
do you know what? There's loads in the UK, Bill.
Oh,
there is.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there's loads, because I remember being young, and that was part of our trip. I think Dad used to scan to see, and he was getting all of his information from books as well. You've got to remember, I'm a lot older now, so it wasn't as easy as what you've just said. Sticking it into a search engine, and but so they're everywhere in the UK. For everyone in the UK that wants to find a labyrinth, they're definitely on your doorstep.
Yeah, nice. Well, so go on. You wanted to tell a little bit about your experience. What happened?
Yeah. So obviously I'd reached out to you guys, and I got told, I can do basic training, and then I can do a practitioner's course. So then started my journey with you. I think it was really nice. I've got to be honest with you. It was a really nice experience. Obviously, I'm so honoured to be a cognitive movement practitioner, and I love my work so much. Like, I really, really, really do. Excuse me. But when I think back to the training, I was so lucky that I had such a cool group of people that were also wanting to be practitioners. We had all different people, psychologists, coach, there was animal communicators. The group were fascinating, who I was working with. And I think I was quite surprised, really, that you were there teaching us. I think in my mind, I thought, you'd have a team that does that, and maybe once in a blue moon, we might get to see you. But you were there every time teaching us. And I think that was a bit mind-blowing for me, because one minute I'm watching you on TV, and the next minute we're chatting by the computer. So I loved just all the training. I loved all of that. But then I think this is where I really, really understood how important cognitive movement was going to be for me, because obviously in training, we are doing this on each other. So I'm actually now not watching it on TV. I'm now actually with a ball in my hand, testing out whether these things that you told me were true on the TV actually are true. And this is when the magical / weird and wonderful stuff started happening. So I'd like to tell you about, because this brings to mind, we were doing an athletic performance session. So it was a quick fire cognitive movement session. And you'd said to us, you need to be able to test this. So everyone think of something that you struggle to do. It could be a sit-up, a push-up, maybe it's a yoga move that you struggle with. But I want you to pick an exercise and then do it now. So you've got your baseline. Then we'll do a session and then go back, test whether it's improved. We'll do another session and then test it again. So everyone picked, as you said, sit-ups, yoga moves, this type of thing. And I remember sat there thinking, I've got a pull-up bar in my door frame. Now, I used to be able to do loads of pull-ups. I was really, really strong, fit, healthy girl. And honestly, that had gone like right downhill. I knew I could not do a single pull-up. So I thought I'd pick a pull-up because I didn't really believe, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought, I know I can't do that. And I can't understand how I'd be able to go from not being able to do a pull-up to do a pull-up. So you told us to go away and test. I went to my pull-up bar. I was grateful that no one else was in the house with me because I looked ridiculous. I was like a limp tea towel hanging off the pull-up bar. My arms were shaking. I couldn't do it whatsoever. We come back to the screen. We did a session. Then I went back to the pull-up bar. And I'm not saying it was dead easy, but I did a pull-up, like chin properly above the bar. It was a real pull-up. And I think because I was so shocked and excited, I just, as soon as I'd done it, I kind of released my hands and I just dropped down. So then we come back to the computer screen. We did another session. And then I went back to the pull-up bar. And this time I was obviously, surprise was over. So I was concentrating. I did this perfect pull-up. I pulled myself up. I held myself up for 7 seconds, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I really did count it out 7 seconds. And then I brought myself relaxing back down again and come back to the computer screen beaming. Now, I think that stands out because everyone who come back to the screen was beaming like me. Everyone was, I can't believe that worked. But that was only one of many things that happen within the training.
Yeah, it is amazing, the athletic performance. There's no doubt, right, that you could only, let's say not do a push-up and then all of a sudden, now you're pumping off 5 push-ups. It's amazing. So a lot of people don't know what cognitive movement is that is listening to this. And it is basically an exercise that we utilize your body and certain movements with your body while you're focused on a particular issue. And what happens is we are exploiting a natural neurological response that everybody has. We figured out how to do that. And the ramifications of it are we can create emotional amnesia. We can create craving amnesia. We can boost athletic performance, your mental acuity. We can help with sleep. We help with stress. So, and the wonderful thing about it is that right now for everybody out there, like you feel like, oh, I have to be stronger than the chocolate cake. Like that's how you do it, right? You have to have stronger willpower than whatever you're craving, or I have to suppress, my anger, my resentment, so that I can keep my job or keep peace in the house or with the neighbors or whatever. I have to grit my teeth. Imagine that through movement, and allowing yourself to feel how you feel, that poof, it goes away permanently. It's amazing. It's amazing. And athletics is just one of those things. We have people that are pro golfers, professional marksmen. We have all kinds of things. The creating these connections and pruning these connections in different parts of the brain is what does it, and beyond. There's much more to it, but exploiting the natural neurological response that we all have. That's what gets it. And now I'm so happy that you're out there helping people in the UK with whatever their issues are, and you're fully certified and up and running. And you're holding group classes too, right?
Yeah, so the classes have actually been really good for me, because I think when I was initially telling people about cogno movement, obviously in the UK people weren't aware of it. I know it's massive in America, and you have a massive following in America, and loads of these case studies of amazing things that have happened to clients in America. But obviously in the UK, I could have been talking in Swahili. People didn't know anything about it whatsoever. So the classes for me were a good way to get people familiar with the word, with to be honest with you, with everything to do with the body as well. Because when I was talking to people, the amount of people that didn't even realize that there's a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere, there's a lot that I think we don't pay a lot of attention to what goes on in our body, like the mechanisms of it. We take it for granted. And I understand that's what people do. And I think as well, people have a basic understanding of if you don't look after yourself, things can go wrong. You can make yourself ill with stress. And, everyone kind of hears these sentences and you act like you know it, but I think you don't deep dive into it.
Yeah.
So this was nice for me doing the classes, because obviously it was educating people a little bit about the brain and how your body stores information and how we learn, and obviously eye movements, that you need to put your eyes in certain places in order to access different parts of your brain. And when I'm doing classes, I'm trying to get people to fire up their brain in a way that they don't normally do, because as you said earlier, you have a left hemisphere, a right hemisphere. If you're a creative person, then your right side. If you're logical, then your left side. So you run all of your brain processing through that one side. So your judgments, everything's happening through your dominant side. So for me, the classes was a good way to get that network of neurons firing, so that you're using both sides of the brain in a way that you've never done before. And it's not hard work. I think this is what
it's physical. Right. You can physically do it. Yeah. So, hey, we are running out of time. You have a gift for all of our audience. Gemma, tell us about the secret that you're going to walk people through right now to help them out with their life.
Right. Okay. So I've chose this because I actually do this in my classes. So this isn't a cogno movement move. This is actually more of a NLP, neuro-linguistic programming exercise. And it's about limiting belief. So everyone can do this. If you drive in your car, then no, you can't do it. You're going to have to replay this when you get home and do it when you're not driving. If you're washing the dishes, put them down. I'd like everyone to have a go with this. So this is about limiting belief. And what I would like you to do is stand up, and you have both feet together, pointing forward. want you to just relax your body. And I'd like you to stretch your right hand, your right arm in front of you, with your right index finger pointing directly in front. And I just want you to just relax, not strain, but just turn your body. So you're turning your right arm away from yourself and twist your body as far around as you possibly can. And just take note at where the limit of your stretch is. And then just gently move back towards the front, lower your arm. Just check that you're still comfortable with your feet tight together and your toes pointing forward. But this time, I'd like you to not move whatsoever. So don't move your arms, just close your eyes. And when you've got your eyes closed, I want you to remember that exercise that we've just done. So with your eyes closed, no movement from your body. I want you to just think about that move. So your feet are together, your toes are pointing forward. I asked you to lift your right arm, stretch out your right index finger, and I asked you to move your body, twisting as far back as you could. But this time, I want you to think of going twice as far as you did last time. Maybe you might even be like an owl and twist your body all the way round to the front. And then I want you to just gently relax back round and picture yourself coming back to the front. And then open your eyes. And then if everyone's comfortable, now we're going to do it again for real. So with your eyes open, feet together still, I want you to extend your right hand, point out your right finger. And this time, again, without straining, I want you to turn as far as you can and point to the back. Now, I don't need to see what is happening here because I 100% know that you have turned at least 20-30% further than what you did the first time that you did it. And the reason why that is because we place these limiting beliefs on ourselves all the time. So this just demonstrates we even place a limiting belief on how far we can actually turn our body. Wow. So yeah, I just like to drop that one in because it is.
Oh, thank you, Gemma. That was awesome. I love it. That was so nice that you helped everybody, and what a wonderful validating to have it physical.
Yeah.
Now, for all the audience, everybody out there in the UK and globally, Gemma works with people across the world and right there in the UK. So you can get to her at cognomovement.com. That's COGNOMOVEMENT.com. Cogno like your brain, movement, 2 words together, cogno and movement. And you can see under Find a Practitioner. You can find all the contact information there for her. And also, as a special gift for coming to the website, when you input your subscribe to and put your email address in there, it's free. We got 2 free ebooks for you. One on Suffering is Optional, and another one is called The Tiny Book of Big Manifesting. So you'll get a couple books for free for coming down. Get a hold of Gemma. She can help you out. Thank you all. Thank you, UK Health Radio, and thank you, listeners, for listening to the New Life Perspectives radio show. Most of all, thank you, Gemma.
Thank you for having me, Bill. It's been lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us on the New Life Perspective radio show. For more information or to find out more about the work that Bill and I do, please visit us at cognomovement.com or email us at info@cognomovement.com. See you again soon.